in Temecula
Oh, yeah?
on tour.
Oh, no. What kind of tour? A music tour?
Yeah. We just played a show with like As I Lay Dying the night before.
Gosh.
And then we were going to Albuquerque to play with Me Without You. And then we were stuck in Temecula.
Is that where
Terrible
Daryl was
place to
flying a
get
kite?
No, that was in Texas. Our tour finally ended in Texas, where our van just
Lots of breakdowns.
couldn't make it out of Texas. It now lives in
man.
Texas.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Cool. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Wedding Film School Show. My name is Jared Haskell, here again with Mr. Jason McCutcheon, my business partner friend. Jay, how we doing?
Doing really good. We are excited because what is it right now? It's April. I just got back from Engage, Tuscany, so I had a good time there. And wedding season is about to fully kick off in New England. So things are looking up. Do you ever feel like a nervous energy like when a season's about, like you're happy that it's about to start, but you're also kind of like dreading it because you're enjoying.
That's the word I was going to use. Dread. It's dread season. It's like, I hope I did everything. I hope I didn't forget this person on a spreadsheet and we're just going to get a call. Like that's the season. I'm like double checking season, making sure we're lined up, making sure, lead shooters, second shooters, assistants, they all know what they're doing.
Well, tell everybody about what you were doing today that made you so happy.
Oh, it's the simple things in life, Jay. Today, before the podcast, I just bought a ton of Pelican wheels, like rollerblade wheels for the Pelicans. And like going from like the oblong shape, weird shape, like flat-sided,
just to
wheels to
go to our
perfect
Instagram.
wheels. Oh.
Go to our Instagram. We posted a video of one of our Pelican cases, and this thing looked like a Flintstones wheel.
Yeah, dude, it's so.
It was like a square now.
But just like again, the simple things in life. They roll beautifully. And so now we don't have to go through the Four Seasons in Boston going clack, 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 clack with our Pelicans. Everyone looks at you like you're a caveman. And
like, look at that Philistine.
Yeah. Oh, it's just the videogaphers again rolling through here. Like, we'll never get a call again if we shoot a wedding at the Four Seasons.
I knew they were nothing.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Those kind of things, there's only a certain amount of things that you can control in life, Jay. Wheels for your Pelican case is one of them. Make sure they're good.
You know what's funny about all the stuff we buy for cameras? A lot of people don't realize that you can repair it.
Yeah.
You don't have to throw it away. You can actually replace the parts. You can fix your lights. You can fix diodes. You can actually not waste everything you buy.
Yeah. And there are some people out there, I think photographers are especially
pathetic.
Delicate with their gear and they treat it like a princess.
Oh my god, it's so funny to
versus
me,
videographers. We like, dude, what we pull our Pelicans through, like the gravel, like that, the finely like pea rocks at like all these New England weddings. No one has paved driveways. They're all these like little rocks.
I mean,
and
photographers
seashells.
don't even have to rush.
Yeah.
They have nothing to do all day. They just walk around with a camera on their neck. We're like,
I know.
like running with our hair on fire.
I know.
So no offense, photographers, but you don't have as much gear as us. So,
well, Jay, if you think a single photographer listens to this show,
hey, one time a photographer
mistaken.
I met at an event told me they listened.
Okay, good. We love our photographer friends.
Anyway, we have a guest right now, and his name is Jimmy Lick, and he's from the Second Society, and he is here to talk to us about his awesome platform. So I want to introduce you guys to Jimmy. Jimmy, how you doing?
I'm doing amazing, man. How are you?
Doing so good. So if you don't know, and I'll do my crappy pitch, Jimmy, and then I'll actually ask a real question that will actually let people know about Second Society. But if you don't know, Second Society, we talk about them on the show a lot. And they are a really, really awesome resource where you can go and hire second shooters. And it's not exclusively to the wedding industry, but of course, wedding industry is kind of where we are now and probably a lot of those folks.
Photographers and filmmakers, by the way.
Yep. And if you head on there, you can get awesome second shooters. And we've used them. We will continue to use them for our own companies. And and so, Jimmy, did I get it right?
You nailed it, man.
Oh, thank you so much.
You nailed it.
Can I say?
A+.
Oh, man. So Jimmy, tell everybody a little bit about yourself and kind of your background before we talk about Second Society a little bit more.
Yeah. So I've been in the wedding industry for 10 years now, full time. Kind of started out in music, went to school for music, and like halfway through my first semester, decided to pop into film. And there was a master's program going on where it was 5 years and you could do music plus filmmaking. So I kind of dabbled into that and then just fell in love with it. And so, fast forward to 2015, I started my first wedding. I was involved in the church as a worship leader, and that's kind of where I got started. I found my first 6 weddings straight that year in the church, and then decided that, hey, this is what I want to do full time. And so been doing it full time. Then we hit COVID. And basically, to sum it all up, there was one time where we were filming in Tahoe, and San Jose was another wedding that got postponed on the same day. And we needed to find 2 lead shooters and then a second shooter for a huge $1 million wedding. And it was really hard to find people in San Jose. And so I was like, man, there needs to be an app where we can just hop on there. All of our friends live there. They have their availability, and we can just find lead and second shooters in seconds. And there was no app built. So I decided to sell our house and put all of our investment into building this app, because I think it's something that's absolutely needed in the wedding industry.
Insane. Yeah.
I would agree. And as you know, Jared and I have been doing it a long time, and I was pretty excited when I saw the platform come out, even before it kind of got as much publicity, I think, and because we were like, we have our own shooters, but situations come up a lot, and we were like, we don't have a like emergency valve.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I think it's really interesting. You bring up COVID, and I was assuming that it was kind of like a COVID brand, mainly because I think pre-COVID, a lot of people found second shooters using like Facebook groups,
Facebook.
right?
Mm-hmm.
At least for us, that's what I saw. We have a lot of like New England photographer, videographer kind of Facebooky groups, some bigger, some smaller. And it was like, hey, I have an emergency. Anyone able to fill in X, Y, and Z? And COVID kind of just accelerated that. COVID just made that situation be on steroids. 1 million people were just displaced and available, and then also unavailable, and just it was insane. And I remember one person in one of the groups said, hey, I created a Google spreadsheet of people and availabilities, and it was a nightmare, but it was there. It was a resource, and I was like, man, somebody is going to come along and make a company. Like, this is a company. Like, I don't want to do it. But I'm so glad that, Jimmy, you took the reins and you did the hard thing for the rest of us. Like you said, put your house up and at risk for the rest of us. So we very much appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me ask you a couple questions, because I think one of the biggest things that people, I think, if you've never been on the platform, tell everybody a little bit about how the platform works, and like, how do we know that we're getting like a quality second shooter out of this platform?
Yeah, to start off, you don't know until you hire them.
So go for it.
But we do the best that we can to eliminate all risk. Which number one is obviously their profile, and just all of their work is listed there. So we, create a profile with all of their gear located on there, their familiarity, their experience with shooting weddings, an entire bio. You have a thumbnail image of their logo or a headshot. And so you're kind of getting a sense of how good they are just based off their portfolio work. Also, we have rating systems on there for how many weddings they've shot on the platform already for other companies. And so that's kind of what I do, is like when I'm looking for a second or a lead shooter on the platform, I'm looking at how many times have they filmed for other people, what's their experience, what does their portfolio look like, making sure that's consistent throughout all different portfolios, because a lot of people will have like the one-off weddings. But if you have 6 or 10 weddings on there, you know that they're doing quality work.
So really quick, can you see who they've worked with as well?
Yes.
I think that's a big one.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you go on there, you can basically see all the profiles of the other companies that they've worked with in the past.
Yeah.
So if you go on mine, for example, like I've shot 12 weddings with other people last year. You get to see the people that I've worked with in the past. I think that pretty much sells itself. Also the reviews, what it's like to work with somebody. And I think that's like a big eye opener for a lot of people to just see what their personality was like on the wedding day. So if you get to see those touch points, that is also super helpful. Because at the end of the day, you're working with somebody for, 10 hours and you want to make sure it's a good time.
Yeah, so I think you brought up something interesting when it comes to this that I was curious your thoughts on, which is really, you brought up like these rating systems and all that. Do you find I don't know how you feel about this, Jared, but I'm wondering, do you think people are honest? Like, do people provide negative feedback, or is it just 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars? I don't know. I would be might be a little nervous to give a bad review of someone that I might have to run into in a Facebook group.
I totally agree. I think if somebody maybe has a bad experience with somebody who's, in our small community, they'd be more likely to just leave no review than leave a good review or a bad review.
Do you find that to be the case, or do you think people have proven to be honest in actually providing that feedback?
No, so the way our app works, basically you have public feedback and then private feedback as well, right? So you want to help the shooter out as best you can, giving critical advice and feedback for how they actually did. We didn't even do reviews. We built it out in code for about 6 months, and I just didn't even want to launch it because I was thinking the exact same thing. Nobody's going to be honest. What's the point of launching this out and having to maintain code and making sure that it works across all platforms when in reality people won't be honest? But I think, to your point, leaving no review is a bad review. And so when people don't scream about you and say, man, what it was amazing to shoot with this person, it kind of leaves you thinking they're probably going to be average, right? Where vice versa is when you see people go above and beyond and write reviews that, it takes a lot of effort to put those words into play. Now you have built that anchor of trust with that shooter. And that's kind of what I want Second Society to look like is, people are going to have 5-star reviews, people are going to have 5 stars, but the people with 5 stars and reviews that say all this extra is going to build just another level of trust. And that's what we want at the end of the day. We want however many levels of trust I can build through Second Society before you hire them. That's what I want.
I mean, ultimately, right? Me and Jared train shooters left and right. This is tough. We don't give the feedback we should be giving to our shooters, most likely, because you're having to
run a business and
have
do
a
everything else. Yeah,
too. It's you won't want the last thing I want to do is crush some person who had a bad day, but I also it's a challenge, and I think the artist industry always runs into this challenge too, because it's artists by nature are not very keen on criticizing other artists. I mean, maybe in your own way you are, but in terms of more nice people than mean people are in this industry.
Any criticism always happens in the back smoke-filled room. It's never open and honest and talked about, and definitely not in podcast spaces, but even in the review space, I think. Yeah.
So you've built out this platform. And you're kind of seeing a lot of second shooters. We were talking before the show, and I want to bring this topic up because me and Jared on another end, we're always ranting about the labels, just something as simple as the fact that I'm I have a highlight film. And that means literally 27 things, which means when a planner goes to pitch me, they might be pitching someone else's highlight film to the client. They're oh, this, we're going to get there. We're going to get a film. Mine's 4 minutes. Theirs is 12 minutes. Right. Oh, it's so brutal. It kills us. Lack of standardization. We were talking about the term second shooter. And in the middle of the topic, I realized we were defining the term very differently. So what would you say is a second shooter?
Yeah, someone that is able to represent your brand, be able to get the shots that you need as a second, someone who is typically not getting the same thing that you are. They're usually using a different focal length and helping tell a more compelling story for whether it's a highlight film or for your photos. So they're getting secondary angles even sometimes just like different styles. So maybe they're put on details while you're capturing the bride. Maybe they're getting candids while someone else is doing more posy shots. So it's just somebody to assist you in helping tell the whole story of the day.
Yeah. I think one of the issues that you're going to run into throughout not just this platform, but throughout the whole industry, and I'm sure you have, is this whole entire thing of like the fact that people just use their second shooters so differently. I don't know, like we even in our own company, like actually have multiple levels of second shooters.
Yeah. Well, that's what we were talking about. Like we have 3 different brands, and we use our second shooters very, very differently. Like a second shooter for or a lead shooter for my lower end brand wouldn't even be a second shooter for my higher tier brand. Just in terms of what I would require in terms of skill and presence and maturity. And so, yeah, I would say it really varies depending on the event. And I think a lot of people out there, might hear this and say, oh yeah, this is great. But then they're going to Second Society and maybe looking at the prices and saying, okay, that might be a little bit out of my price range. Is there like a general like price range of what kind of people can expect there? Or is it just kind of like depending on the region? Like maybe kind of tell the viewers like what they can expect in terms of when they go there, what kind of maybe it's like a certain type of tier that you're, appealing to, or are you trying to be a little bit more broad, I guess?
Yeah, I think it's going to evolve and change over time. I think when we initially set out to develop this platform, it really was selfishly to serve my company, which is, I would say the lower end of luxury weddings. Yeah. So we're booking between 10 to 15K weddings. And so really I'm looking for other people like me, right, that are shooting 15 to 20 weddings a year. They charge a pretty good amount for their own weddings, but are looking to, book jobs between $1,000 to $1,500 as second shooters. And so I wanted just all of my quote unquote friends or everybody in the industry that was at my level to be on a platform together so we could all help each other out. That was it. We weren't trying to, build our own brand or second shoot so we could get the photos or the footage and use it in our own websites. It wasn't anything like that. It was like, hey, let's be a collective, all help each other raise the bar in our own businesses. Obviously, now that we have 3,000 people on the platform, I'm realizing like that has to grow and be broader and serve both the lower tier people and even the higher tier, if that makes sense. So it is definitely evolving.
That's like a very very succinct and I think laudable goal.
Yeah.
And I do think that is still needed. That's kind of how we've used the platform.
Well, it's exciting to me because another thing in common theme that we talk about here on the show is like the maturity of our part of the industry. And I think it's really important. And one thing that's really exciting to me about Second Society is it's like, here's the next step to the evolution of our craft. Like, I think a couple of years ago we had a revolution of like, okay, the outsourcer revolution. And hey, now you have these people who 10 years ago, never in a million years, if you would have said, I outsource my films, they would have been like, oh, low quality. Nowadays, that's very much changed. And now it frees people up to be with their family more and maybe even deliver better wedding films at the end of the day. It's gone from like maybe like a net negative and something that maybe people are allergic to talking about to something that it's a very credible way to run a wedding film business is, I'm the lead, I do the sales, I do the shooting, I'm the face of it, but then I'm working with someone who knows more than me on the back end. And so I just see Second Society as like a tool in my toolbox as more of like a business owner of like, hey, if I can build this out, then that's something I want to probably exercise and look into. And that's the way I've seen it as a business owner who has these 3 different businesses as like, hey, I have my team, I have my staff, I have contractors that I work with, and now I have an extra tool in my tool belt to maybe expand and grow and create new relationships with a higher tier kind of photographer, filmmaker, etc. And that's really exciting to me. I wish we had even more tools at our disposal like this, but it's just a reflection of, how our industry is growing.
Do you think, Jimmy, if a person's like, and I'll try to ask this question in the best way I can, but feel free to reframe it. Say there's a person, right, who's like, I want to get into wedding filmmaking. I just want to shadow jobs. I don't care what it is. I'll charge $1 on Second Society just to do whatever it takes to get experience. Maybe not $1. Maybe they have a little experience. Maybe they've shot for one, like they shot a couple of their friends' weddings, and how can that person take part in something like Second Society?
So the way I would approach it is, I would try to get involved in as many workshops, education, styled shoots as you possibly can to get experience without showing up to a wedding day. When you can, I would try to get, jobs that are lower paying. And so I would just come in with a humble approach of saying like, hey, I'm going to charge, $30 an hour, $40 an hour just to be your assistant. Because I want to gain experience.
Is there a category, like a filter for assistant on the platform?
Not right now. On the back end there is, but we haven't launched it yet. And so the other thing we're doing is content creation as well.
Nice.
So if you want to be a content creator, that also gets you onto a wedding day without, again, that like risk factor of having to carry the load of what a second shooter is needed or a lead shooter. But yeah, that would be another option.
That's awesome.
And just making sure, So I thought initially when we built it, like put second shooter, but put your starting rate at $30 to $40 an hour. So people know that like, okay, this person is willing to come onto the scene for, $250 for the day, $300. You are right though, in the sense that I think a lot of people start out higher thinking that they're going to get paid that. And what they end up experiencing is just crickets because nobody wants to charge them for the work that they're producing.
Yeah.
Well, and I think the other side is like, there is not, I say this every time I go to engage, I'll just be talking to some person and I'll be like, that you live in a fantasy world, right? like you're
fantasy world that exists, but
for you.
Yeah.
But what you represent is I'm statistically, I think it is 0.02% of the industry. And I often think like the entire industry is framed through the lens of that part of the industry. So people are like, well, I mean, this guy, like, well, you gotta, like, I wouldn't do that. And so, of course you wouldn't do that. You have leads, you have professional contacts, you have a portfolio, you have like,
and you do 10 weddings a year.
You're doing
10 weddings a year.
You're doing 10 weddings a year for $20,000.
Yeah.
Like you're an abnormal person. The problem with our industry, Jimmy, is like wedding filmmakers are not, I think it's like a 55% market penetration, maybe even a less. And it probably varies of terms of weddings that have a wedding filmmaker. 98% of weddings have a photographer.
Right.
So, and I always say this to people, you don't see wedding filmmakers at cheap weddings. Like kind of at all. It's like a mid-tier it starts hopping in those like $50,000 to $100,000 events. That's when you start to see wedding filmmakers. And you'll see like a $7,000 photographer losing their mind with some $2,000 filmmaker who's embarrassing themselves wearing shorts. And the problem with these photographers is I'm like, that's their first gig. You've been doing this for 5 years and there's a whole entire ladder for you to climb. To get to that $7,000 price point. For filmmakers, they can't even join the industry until the middle tier. And I think we run into these issues where, who ends up servicing that bottom of the market? Low character, low integrity, low quality, national booking agencies. And they don't even care about their margin. They're charging $1,000. They're paying these guys $1,000 with no experience because they don't even care. We did a little expose, and I haven't even released it to be honest, but we did like some back end. I don't know if you remember. Do you remember the Copper Stallion Media and like Tolman Media and all those like companies that were like closing and leaving like $2,000 couples?
Yeah.
Like Do you know how much they were paying people? They were paying their
The
shooters. Yeah. So they would have a $2,700 photo and video package. And they would spend $1,700 on the shooters.
Yeah.
And then they would pay a rate to their booking person. And then they would pay a rate to their manager. So they would walk away with like $300, $200 at the end of that.
But then, like, talk about their marketing. They marketed a lot too.
Yes,
Like,
they forced all the people, and like they would force people to spend like a percentage of their budget, like $100K on ads too. So that, and then it's a pyramid scheme because they would just build up their numbers to a certain point, and then they go, "Oh, we're closing," and they run away with everyone's deposits. That destroys wedding filmmaking as a adoptable product to create supply and demand dynamics at the bottom of the market. And it destroys the experience ladder so that we don't have as many good people at the top end that we can start hiring. All that to be said, I think we have a major problem in our industry with we don't have a way of getting people started very effectively to join the industry. It's kind of like if you know someone and you're good, then, you know, naturally talented. Yeah, like it's pretty easy for you to get in. I think that's kind of how it works, is like naturally talented, skilled people. The problem is all the skilled people need a lot of people to hire. And all those people are busy because they all have their own businesses. And so my dream has always been, Jimmy, that we have a much better developed bottom of the market. And I know everybody in our industry hates the bottom of the market. They can't wait to even get rid of it. And they think of them as the scum of the earth and the weddings they would never want. I'm always like, that's kind of like where we start getting our people though. Like if there was a bunch of guys running small, they're doing 10 weddings, not because they are charging 40 grand per wedding. They're doing 10 weddings because they don't know anybody.
wouldn't you say content creation is totally replacing that part of the market, though, or going to?
I don't think so.
No.
I think it will somewhat replace it. It's definitely going to, I mean, it's not great that we couldn't get our crap together before content creation came along. That sucks. But I'm fine with content creation, by the way, but it sucks that like we couldn't make a compelling case to the market that every wedding should have a wedding film.
Mm-hmm.
I think the prices are too high. Like I think every couple should be able to spend $2,000 or $40,000, and there should be a tangible difference. But wedding filmmaking should be at every wedding.
Right. And yeah, sorry, Jamie. Like the
or ranting. I apologize.
just before we kind of move on our rant, I do think there's two aspects of that. There's the economic side, which is the realist side, and then there's the emotional side. Like, of course, like
the artist side.
The artist side. Like, it's every workshop you go to, everyone's know your worth. Don't do this X, Y, and Z. But it's like
let's
the market,
get paid more, blah blah blah.
Yeah, but the market just doesn't reward you for it. They just don't. There's not enough demand for it. Period. So it's like you have those two conflicting things. That's why you can't have that market penetration at the end of the day, right?
Yes.
So, anyways, yeah.
That's our rant. That's our perspective on the entire world and entire industry, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Now, comment on all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ready? No.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I would say know your worth only works when you know how much people are willing to pay for you. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? At some time, you're going to have to wake up and say, are people paying for my work every other weekend? And if not, then you're not worth what you're saying you are. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like you have to prove it at the end of the day. And I think I will be honest and say, I wish I took more weddings in my lifetime, especially the jobs that were going to be filling to my soul. The ones that were, boat day in Lake Tahoe. It was a 3-day wedding. It was going to be super fun. It could have been an epic film that I could have created with a really pretty couple, but their budget was $6K, right? I think at the end of the day, like I had, 10 or 12 of those in my lifetime where I'm like, dang, I really wish I kind of just did it to have that portfolio. And you never know where that portfolio is going to go. And again, like every single wedding that you get, now that's another referral that's always going to build your business. So there's a fine line. I think people can be too stubborn to, not take enough jobs. And then they're 3 years in and you realize like, oh, all my referrals have dried up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I've
found that to be the case with even your site, Jimmy. Like with the guys that we worked with, introduced them to me, and now I'm like much more likely to bring them on personally for kind of future work as
Yeah,
well.
I would hire both of those guys again.
Yeah, because they were phenomenal. They were great, and I was actually surprised because I think second videographers can kind of get a reputation of like, okay, you bring someone on, they're kind of underexperienced for what they're charging, but those guys were excellent, and I think when you just put them out in the market to compete on your site, you put them up against each other as like, okay, yeah, this is probably at the end of the day what they're worth. I do find it's like, for me personally, I found that water kind of met its level, and I would probably pay them the same amount what we paid them in the past, just as a tool. In our case, it was like we really needed some solid people that day, and it was an impossible date to find people up here. We even had to bring them in from Pennsylvania,
which is why you need to sign up if you're listening to this.
So what
You're
would
in
you?
Boston.
Yeah.
Sign up today.
What are maybe some of your goals for the next year, 2 years? How are you really looking to grow this thing? How can you encourage people to, people out there that see the value in Second Society? What would you tell them to do kind of right now to, help our industry?
I think the first question was just goals. So like my goal for this first year is just to get us to 7,500 people on the platform. Following year would be 2,500 or 25,000. Sorry. Those are the first two major goals that I have in my head of acquisition. That's just number one. I want numbers up.
And where are you guys now? What are your numbers now?
We're at 3,000.
3,000.
Those
Cool.
are available shooters. If you're listening to this, these are the people that the companies can hire. And
Yeah, and the culture of Second Society is a lot of people are both, right? So they are companies hiring second shooters, but they're also willing to lead and second shoot for other people when they can. So most of the people on there are, again, like I said, they're shooting 15 to 30 weddings a year, and are open to, shooting other weddings in the slow season. And that's the other thing is like a lot of people live in different parts of the world where like California, we're open all year round. But the people in Michigan are going to be closed down. So these people can actually keep shooting through the winter months and get jobs that are in Phoenix, Texas, Florida, California.
if somebody is not, if someone does not at all embody the description of a second shooter that you explained, which is good, but they're hungry and they have a great attitude and all they want to do is get in the door, what would you say to that person about signing up to be on Second Society?
Always come in with a humble approach, be willing to learn and willing to serve other people. Like I think this works across the board. Everybody wants somebody under the wing. Like I've taken people under my wing, and it's usually the people that are just hungry, willing to learn, and not willing to, charge an arm and a leg for it. And so I will come in, set your prices low. When you apply to a job, say, hey, I'm willing to serve and go above and beyond. I'll, carry all your gear. I'm willing to be an assistant on the shoot, and come for free. And really what that's going to do is it's going to get you in the door. They're going to get a lot of value out of you. They're going to see that you've provided more value than what you charged, and they're going to bring you back on to the next one, and you're just going to scale that ladder.
And then your Second Society profile is going to say that you worked with a credible person. And
100%.
so that will add value to you. But you would say, like, go do it. Even if you're not the most experienced person, you would say, like, go sign up today. You don't need to worry about that barrier to entry. Sign up and just get going, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Make yourself irresistible. That's kind of what we tell our team is like, I've had people over the years who are like, I want more money. And I'm like, you aren't worth more money. Sorry, dude. But other people, I'm like, I can't function without this person. Like they have me. You want to have me, by the throat, essentially. Like if I can't let this person go, I have to pay them twice as much money. And I've been in cases like that. Like you want to provide that, value.
Here's my case too. And Jimmy, tell me how you feel about this. I think the number one problem with anybody is that they don't have experience. That is it.
Yeah.
Like skill, sure, you get that from experience. Talent, I don't know. Maybe you develop talent, maybe you don't. But the wedding industry and wedding filmmaking and really kind of any filmmaking is not a pure talent game. It is mostly a skill and experience game with talent sprinkled in. Like the greats, it's talent plus skill. But you can make a whole living off of experience and skill. And the way you get experience and skill is you work a lot. Yeah. And you shoot as much as you can. And I would just push back on one element of our industry, which is the ego trip around not working a lot. Screw that crap. Like if you're out there and you're listening and you're a new shooter, don't buy into that stuff. Nobody's going to be impressed if you tell people you do 10 weddings and they look at your portfolio and it's not very good. Like you need to work as much as you can to get into the place. Jimmy, what's your wedding filmmaking brand again?
Roar Film Co.
Yeah. So, Roar Film Co. or LaRev or, Jared and Jason with Huxley Film, all the people we've kind of earned our spot and we're getting paid and we're making great work. We could probably say, oh, we're talented or whatever, but probably most of us would say, well, we just did a lot of weddings and we got better at it. And so I would encourage you, if you're listening to this, don't worry about what anybody thinks about you. Don't even worry about your portfolio. Go on there, make yourself available, pursue people, and try to shoot. Like, if you got nothing going on, my opinion, dude, shoot 40 times a year. Shoot every weekend. Like, as much as you possibly can. And then you will have ridiculous contacts. You'll get into weddings that you have no right to be in. You will meet people you have no right to meet. And you might actually become pretty good.
Yep.
That's my pitch.
100%. Put the reps in.
Yeah, get the reps in. And I that's what I love so much, Jimmy, about a platform like yours is I am all about, like, if someone is hungry, I want to reward that. Like, I want to reward hungry people who want to work and who just want to soak it all up. And I think you provide that for people.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I mean, my favorite people that join the platform are people that, have pretty good portfolios and are coming in at, 40 to 50 bucks an hour. And I'm like, you could probably be charging like 80. But what I love is that they're just down to grind it out. And the people that are finding success on this platform are the people that have done that.
Yeah.
I've watched people on here that are getting paid $30K, $20K, $15K a year just in second shooting jobs. And I'm just watching them and they're not upping their pricing at all, but they're getting better at filmmaking every single year.
Well, and they're building a business.
And they're building a business. They're getting weddings in locations nobody else is shooting. And I'm like, yeah, I'm watching you. In 2 years, you're going to blow up and you're going to be top 1%.
Yep.
Jimmy, I
that's
think
just by work ethic.
This is kind of an interesting discussion. What do you find this industry standard is in terms of sharing footage with a second photographer or second filmmaker? What do you find most people are doing nowadays?
I can't speak for the standard across. Sure. I will just give you, advice of what I've done.
Yep.
I've always been able and open to that and just making sure that I'm wrapping it around like a heavy conversation, making sure we're crystal clear on communication of when you can use the footage.
Yep.
And that is after, we've delivered the final product to the couples, making sure that they're not tagging any of the vendors. Like basically it is just their work that they're taking home with them.
Yep.
Nowadays, I don't even offer that because I'm in a place where I pay my second shooters well to where I don't even have that be an issue. They're not trying to use the footage that they shot the wedding with me for their portfolio at all. They have their own weddings going on or their own businesses, whatever it is. So I prefer to just protect ourselves and just say like, hey, no, I'm going to take the footage home with me.
Yep.
But for those that are looking and that need that portfolio, have the conversation. We have full-on contracts inside Second Society that list it super clear whether you can use the footage or not. And even if the company says, we don't want you to use the footage and you really need it for your portfolio, just come back and ask them and say like, hey, this is something that I would love to do. I'm even willing to charge a less rate so that I can use the footage in my portfolio to help build my business.
Well, and that's a really great point of like creating that dialogue, but also understanding like if you're new and you don't understand, like if you're doing high-end weddings, high-end even and into luxury, but even just high-end weddings, you don't know the NDA that person signed.
Right.
They might, like, if you do that, you might get that person sued. So you really
Right.
need to. They're not just being jerks. Just to put that out there. If you're hearing like, they won't let me use the footage. How am I supposed to build a portfolio?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of think, and tell me how you feel about this. Don't you think the ethics of second shooting are more about like building your experience and contacts and less about your portfolio?
Yeah, 100%. As it should be. Yeah, 100%. That's just another part of what Second Society is all about, is getting in proximity and networking with other people that you would have never networked elsewise.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Totally. So, just to close it out, why don't you tell everybody, first of all, how do they get involved? And second of all, kind of like, what's your pitch? Like, why should someone be joining this platform as a company or as a shooter?
Well, joining as a company, I think, again, the culture that I'm trying to set is creating a standard around lead and second shooting and make sure people have a really good understanding of what's expected on a wedding day. And this, I think it starts from the luxury weddings and works its way down. Like, there's going to be some rules and regulations and standards that are in luxury weddings that aren't going to be the same at the bottom. But I will say, if you use those rules and regulations in the lower tier market, you're going to stand out. It's only going to make you a better lead and second shooter. And it's only going to help your career. So that is the point. Is like, we're trying to create a conversation. We're trying to create a community that understands the standards of what it means to be an incredible lead and second shooter. Secondly, if you're looking to shoot more weddings, these weddings are coming out everywhere. So we have people in Europe. We have jobs that are happening in Canada, Mexico, and US. So if you're looking to shoot in other places outside of your hometown and try to get experience in places you've never shot before, this is the place to do it.
That's awesome. So a shooter can go on and bid for jobs.
Yeah, 100%. So what we do is we set up job alerts. And so you just set the cities that you want to work in, the amount that you want to get paid, and we'll send you leads directly to you for jobs that come in that match your preferences.
You would be an idiot not to do that. So I would encourage you, if you're a person who has time in their schedule, and I don't get rid of the ego about it. It's not like, oh no, people think I'm a failure. Like, I'm second shooting. Jared doesn't even know. I'm second shooting with Yoni Da Silva in June. Just because he was like, hey, can you help me out with this thing in Boston? It's a Sunday. And I was like, I got nothing going on. I'll help you out. I've second shot with Lindsay Conklin from Le Rev. Like, I've second shot with a Kyle Smith from 87 and Smith. Like, I'm not too good. Like, I just, I don't even remember how much I got paid. I just did it for fun. So I encourage you to go sign up and do it. Get rid of the ego and just like, that's awesome that you can just target something. You want to shoot a wedding in like Tuscany.
Now's the time to do it too. Like, I think a lot of people are looking at their schedule and saying, I have a pretty good idea what my year is looking like. Put yourself out there. If you have a pretty slow July, fill out that you're available those months, and you can probably fill out your schedule. I think a lot of people are worried with, bookings right now. Where we are, it's usually a slow month for bookings anyways, but how's the economy doing? Whatever. Like, get yourself booked for those locked in dates at this point before someone else does.
I'll tell you this,
it's time
Jimmy.
to do it.
We have some gigs that we need some help on. So if you're listening to the show, you can check out our profile. We're going to put some bids up probably for the summer. And if you want to shoot in Boston or in Cape Cod or Nantucket or any of the areas of New England, head over there. Like, and I'm sure there's a lot of those and a lot of really awesome people you can work with. And so I think that's really, really cool. I'm sure there's way more we could talk about with the platform, but I think we have that code still, right? WFS3.
Yep.
So tell everybody about the VIP membership. What does that do? What does that get them?
Yeah, basically what I was telling you about is it gives you those job alert features. So you never have to check the job board again. So basically you just set where you want to shoot, whether that's like your hometown location, or if you want to shoot in Italy, or if you want to shoot in England. Basically you just put all the cities that you want to shoot in, the price point that you're looking. Also, you can send in all the companies that you want to work with. So for example, like I have Lindsay, Le Rev is in there. Kyle from 87 Smith is on there as well. And so if any of those people put jobs up on the job board, regardless of the location and how much they're charging, it sends me a notification saying like, hey, the Rev just posted a job. Do you want to apply? And so I think that feature is incredible. You never have to check it again. That's the thing with Facebook groups is like, they're great, but let's be honest, only 3% of the people that are in the Facebook groups are looking at those every single day. Mm-hmm. And so you're missing 97% of the people. And so with Second Society is like every single job post goes to every single person. So at least it gets in front of their eyes.
I don't really see what the negative of that is, Jared.
Yeah,
So.
totally.
Thanks, guys.
So yeah, let's wrap this thing up. Jimmy, thank you so much for being on, man. It was great chatting and getting to know you. This is the first time we've been hanging out, but really appreciate what you're doing for the industry. Like Jay said, head over to secondsociety.com.
.io.
Sorry. Make sure you're checking out weddingfilm.school if you want to know all the things that are going on here at Wedding
You
Film
can
School.
go sign up for a consultation, and I'll tell you if you should sign up for Second Society.
There you go. That's one way to do it. There is a prompt now on our website that will ask you if you want to join our newsletter, and that's where you can find all the local or most current news going on at Wedding Film School. Recent releases, recent podcasts, recent happenings on the Facebook group, and just discussions happening in the broader wedding film community. Hope you've enjoyed this episode, guys. We'll see you again next week here on the Wedding Film School Show.